while you spoke about entrepreneur, why you spoke about this, I define them as a keel. You know what a keel is?
The nail.
हाँ, इतना हिंदी आता है आपको, सही बात है यार.
So what if I'm from Bangalore?
True. So I call an entrepreneur a keel. Say why?
Why?
कि दा उम्र भर वो कील बोझ उठाता रहा. And you will appreciate it all the more because in this beautiful house of yours that you've invited me in, you can see a lot of paintings around and I can see a lot of paintings around. कि दा उम्र भर वो कील बोझ उठाता रहा और ये कमबख्त दुनिया जो है उस तस्वीर की वाह करके निकल गई.
अरे वाह, what fantastic, beautiful.
So the entrepreneur is that keel, and people are seeing only what is in front.
Yeah, that's
है ना?
true. That's so true.
But here is the twisted side, which a lot of people don't want to talk about, the dark side.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, entrepreneurship, while it gives you that tool of choice, like I keep saying this, right? If I had to continue in my earlier avatar of being, let's say, a partner in a bulge bracket, monetarily, perhaps I would have been much better off.
Yeah.
But would I have the intangibles around me and the intangible currencies of what makes me richer? Answer is no. Would I perhaps be able to do this sitting here?
Maybe no.
I would perhaps be punching my time clock somewhere or asking my boss, can I go across and show this as a business development meeting?
Absolutely.
So that compromise is amongst certain material or maybe tangible elements versus intangible. So my thought always is कि अगर मुझे सपोज करो चपाती खाना है या फुल्का खाना है या तंदूरी रोटी खाना है, रुमाली रोटी खाना है, वो चॉइस मेरा होना चाहिए. चाहे 2 रोटी खाऊं, लेकिन आज अगर आप मुंह के ऊपर मेरे 5 तंदूरी रोटी हर दिन फेंक के बोलो आपको यही खाना है, I may not want it, right? But along with that choice also comes the benefits of control, benefits of going across, having the final say, benefits of being able to go across and dictate things in a particular manner. And sometimes this also goes into the head of founders. We are seeing a lot of unnecessary situation now. Maybe a few black moments or few black sheep are trying to create a tainted picture of the entire ecosystem. Investors like you are now generally getting wary. I have, not only you, I advise so many other investors as well. And I know you guys have now told us to look at certain things even more strictly, which perhaps you could have had a liberal view on. What are those absolute no-goes for you? As an investor, what will create that alarm bell for you? So for my audience here, to make them understand that these are the learnings that one should factor in to say that it should never be around, because even someone as if I may say, amazing an investor as you, and perhaps as accepting an investor as you, would also say, sorry, this is where the alarm bell goes off. What are those moments?
See, again, I think this is very personal to me as an investor, because I have grown in a certain manner, having seen certain life experiences, right? So I'll just tell you one example. When you talk of founder quality, I come from real estate investing. We met many builder founders, right? Developers, real estate,
Yeah, absolutely.
Bollywood has kind of over typecasted them in all their movies, and so they're not as bad as that looks, but still, right? You know what drives them, you know how they operate. I come from there, right? And when we were investing back in 2006, 2007, the founders were the first one to take the money out, right? Leaving investors in the lurch. And that was, that time, a very acceptable norm, even in investors. Haan, theek hai. So what if the founder is taking money out? It's his, he has put in his blood and sweat in trying to aggregate the land, and project shuru bhi nahi hua hai. Paisa leke nikal gaya, ab kya karega? So for us to see the skin in the game, so we were, that time, thankfully I was very junior, and I could sit in the sidelines and see अभी आगे देखते होता है क्या, वो भी देखा क्या होता है, भाग गए सब investors, सब investors के पैसे डूब गए for good, bad, different reasons. But this was one of the reasons that the guy running the business had no skin, as in nothing beyond this left, right? So he had already cashed out. He had taken the cream and he's saying, चलो आप देख लो आपको जो करना है. So that now for me is a big takeaway, right? Because investors hate it when they are left with a company with no one to run it.
Right.
And of late, for me, that is becoming a red flag, which suddenly seems to be very accepted by the investor community. कि हाँ founders को payouts दे दो, right? And crazy salaries, crazy payout bonuses. पर company कुछ खड़ा नहीं किया अभी तक, right? It is still very early, very nascent. You are yet to prove that you have delivered, and उससे पहले आप सब cream निकाल रहे हो. How is it giving comfort for anyone? But now again it's going through that cycle where it's an accepted norm. Investors भी बोल रहे हैं हाँ ले लो. They are supportive. I'm all for supporting, right? Like we've invested in social entrepreneurs who have not been taking salaries for 3-4 years and are still running their families. Now their households. वो भी कर रहे हैं ना. तो आपको क्यों चाहिए BMW गाड़ी? आपको लेना ले लो, no problem, nothing wrong with that. But build value and then take value.
Then you can do whatever.
So that for me is one big red flag.
So to simplify this, liquidity for a founder well before time in context of where perhaps either profitability has come into play.
Profitability तो दूर की बात है.
Now I think things are changing now. Or I was about to say, or path to profitability is at least clear. Because liquidity is two form, right? Liquidity in this context is where you can have a partial liquidity or where the liquidity results in the skin in the game of equity of the founder going so low that the interest in building and continuing that company automatically diminishes.
Correct.
I think that is a very red flag that you're talking about.
Right, like, and if you are telling an investor, I'm creating value, you know, we are going to build a big business together and an institution for the future, and then I see series A round में ही आप पैसे निकाल रहे हो, then why would you want to take money out when for you every percent that you own will become 100x in your head?
True.
Right? So then I'm like thinking...
That is scary. Like, you know me, I'm mostly known as the founders go-to council. In fact,
Correct.
Several portfolios of all yours also, you've told them that, you know, I should be there with them. I tell those founders also that I don't think liquidity, other than what is necessary, because necessary is slightly different. Some emergency may come in, some requirement.
That is absolutely understood.
That's partial liquidity.
Right? Yes.
But life-changing constructs should not come in before you've at least created that cream and actually more than some value. So I think life-changing decisions should not come in even before a Series C. Because by Series C is where you create value for everyone.
That was
hopefully
what one thinks, but I'm hoping good sense will prevail sooner rather than later.
So one is this. What other things about founders scare you? Skin in the game, early liquidity, what else?
So you initially had brought up a very interesting construct of multiple founders.
Yeah.
Right? Again, back in the day, for us, even then having multiple founders was a little bit of a discomfort, because now you're not dealing with one person, you're dealing with 3 people and the dynamics of 3, 4, whatever, right? And it could go off in any direction.
True. I think both would scare you as an investor. If you have 3 or 4 founders and everyone talking the same language of one, that's also scary.
Yeah.
And everyone talking different languages is also scary.
Absolutely, right? So the fact that, see, investing, you need a little bit of predictability.
Correct.
So, if I'm investing in you, I'll spend time with you, I'll understand you, I'll understand what drives you, what motivates you, all that, right? And I know, okay, who are in your first degree of influence, what affects him, what is his equation with his wife, what is his equation with his family. Achha, theek hai, Vinayak ko handle kar lenge hum. Now Vinayak will bring a co-founder 1, co-founder 2, co-founder 3. Now I don't know what the equation with each is. And then I'm like wondering, second guessing, abhi ye kya bolega, ye kya karega, iske karan Vinayak kya karega. I've just amplified my problem areas, right? So, and yes, I agree that entrepreneurship is lonely, it is hard to do things alone, having good quality co-founders is always great, but I've also seen the flip side to it. I have seen founder fallouts, I have seen that impacts business and hence that impacts investor value. So there also we get a little... So I'm okay with the co-founder. I'm very fine with co-founder construct, but even in that there should be a strong founder.
So you're saying that there has to be a construct of alpha, and then you have subtext co-founders. That's the ideal situation.
Correct.
Okay.
And again, what you brought up was very important. Very clear KRAs.
True.
Each one having
Each
their
one
own
having
turn.
to do what they do. That I think is fundamental. The moment you see overlap and confusion is who's delivering what
Who's
is a
doing
huge...
what? Who is responsible for what?
Like I've had a situation, it's very interesting. So I'm dealing with one where there are 8 co-founders. And when I ask them questions,
disaster.
each one's looking at each other. And I'm like, okay guys, and I'm representing them, right? So I have to tell them, you can't do this. You know, you have to know
So you
who
are
has to
the
say
problem.
what.
You coach them and bring them.
I solve the problem.
No, you coach them and
I
bring
create
them.
that alpha for you. I'm like, in the 8, here is the alpha, go talk to Sushma.